from Ramratna International School. Namaste and welcome to Aadharshila Talks at RRIS. Aadharshila is a platform for intellectuals converging from diverse spheres of knowledge to share novel, deep, and insightful ideas of intellect that fuel thought, conversation, and action of the minds of our audience. We believe in from across the country and the world. We strive to bring you the most accomplished and inspiring speakers that ignite invaluable knowledge sparks to spread the light of continuous learning and development among educators, teachers, administrators, students, and parents. RRIS is delighted to host you on this delightful journey by facilitating this platform as our way of giving back to the community and stakeholders that keep us motivated. And of all things, we expect just one thing from you: to share this light of knowledge with your friends, family, peers, and your network. Do invite them to register for these sessions or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ramratna International School Official. Thank you for joining in today, and we look forward to an inspiring session. Onward we go, forward we march. Best wishes from Ramratna International School.
Namaste. Good afternoon and welcome, Dr. Page sir. It's a profound pleasure to have you as an Aadharshila speaker.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Be happy to be here.
We are truly honored and privileged to have you at this 86th Aadharshila Talks at RRIS as an erudite speaker. I would like you to know, sir, that we have had 85 such talks in the last 2 years.
Fantastic.
We'll be completing 2 years in April. Some of our Aadharshila speakers who have graced the platform today. Here we have Wing Commander Pradeep Deshpande sir, who connected me with you. Thank you, sir, for being in Aadharshila and for extending this network of ours. I'm really grateful to you. We also have Dr. Gurmeet Bindra. She has also been a speaker at Aadharshila Talks. And along with her, so many more other such speakers who have made this dream a reality, providing a platform to teachers to listen to personalities from different walks of life who can speak from their own experience in life, can bring in that little spark of imagination, of motivation and inspiration in each one of us. Because teachers are the ones who have been the best warriors the last 2 years have seen, in addition to all the healthcare workers and the other people working in different domains. This was a gift to teachers, and I would like to thank all our speakers for making this possible and all the participants who have been joining us Monday after Monday from 1st to the 86th talk. Friends, today's topic is something which we all must have thought about very often in our lives. Right from childhood, we always have questioned our friends, our parents, and others, what is the meaning of our existence? What am I supposed to do? For what purpose have I been given birth on this planet? There is another beautiful quote which you all must have heard, which is by Mark Twain. It says, the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the other when you find out why. When we talk of why, it is the purpose. Today, Dr. Page will give us more insights on how a life of purpose should be our purpose of life. How many of you and how many of us have actually found the calling? How many heard to that calling, listened to that calling, and pursued our passion, moved in the direction of our calling? How the purpose of life is based on your imagination, creativity, innovation, and invention, how this all is interlinked, we would be exploring in today's talk as Sir would share his immense experience and wisdom with all of us. Now, before we do that, let me introduce formally today's Aadharshila speaker, Dr. Vijay Pageji, to all of you. Sir is the founder director of Bramha Research Foundation. Sir is an alumnus of Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies, University of Mumbai. He did his master's in management studies in 1968, joined Delhi Cloth and General Mills as senior management trainee, has completed his doctorate in special economic zones in India. Sir was the CEO of Konkan Development Corporation, a public sector regional development corporation for over a decade and a half, wherein he launched a number of new initiatives in the spheres of agriculture, dairy development, prawn culture, rubber plantation, palm oil plantation, besides entrepreneurship development. Dr. Page has been a consultant to leading MNCs, including Tata's, Forbes, etc. in the country. He has been involved in developing collaboration and joint venture projects with public and private sector institutions and NGOs from various countries across the globe. Sir has been a consultant to USAID and FAO and a visiting professor at Michigan State University, USA. Dr. Page has been the Director General of MET Schools of Management for 2 decades, having been associated with its various initiatives in management education. Sir has worked for establishment of MET in seeking of consultative status to UN ECOSOC New York and UNAOC since 2003 and participated in the New York and Geneva dialogues. He has widely traveled across continents, and in this journey of his life, he has amassed a huge wealth of knowledge and wisdom. Now, Sir is the founder director of Bramha Research Foundation, Mumbai. I now very humbly invite Dr. Page to take over and lead us all into exploration of life of purpose and purpose of life. Over to you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, madam. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible. You are clearly visible as well.
Thank you. I will share the screen so that it's easier for people to understand what I'm going to speak and how I'm going to speak. Well, first and foremost, I am extremely grateful to the Ram Ratna International School, the trustees, the board of management, the director, principal who had been very kind to invite me. And I also heartily thank my dear friend, Wing Commander Pradeep Deshpande, who introduced me to her and to this brilliant concept of Aadharshila, whatever we say, the cornerstone in life. So my compliments to the institution for having chosen this wonderful talk series, which people would come over and share their life's experiences. My compliments to you, sir. Thank you very much. I welcome all your distinguished colleagues who are there from the academia, from the school, the colleagues that you have from the international and national courses that you have, connectivity. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much for this opportunity. In the next an hour or so, I would take you through what has been my understanding of what Anand is about and how I have lived my life to the best of my abilities. But I must say a few things in the beginning, that I'm extremely grateful for this journey to all my dear teachers, my gurus, my guides, who have guided me at every place in my life, at every spot. Whenever and wherever I had a difficulty, I had a wonderful teacher, a wonderful guide to take to the next stage. So whatever I'm going to present would be the wisdom that I have tried to garner from them. All the mistakes belong to me, belong to myself. All the credit to them. So I pray obeisance at their feet. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Ya Kundendu Tusharahar Dhavala, Ya Shubhra Vastravrata, Ya Veenavardhanda Manditakara, Ya Shveta Padmasana, Ya Brahmachyuta Shankara Prithivibhi, Devyai Sada Vandita, Samam Patu Saraswati Bhagavati, Nishesha Dadyapa. Indivaradarashama Indira Nandakandanam, Vandaru Janamandharam, Vandeham Yadunandanam. Sharda Sharadam Bhoja, Vadana Vadanam Bhaje, Survada Sarvada Smakam, Sannidhim Kriyat. My obeisance, my prayers at the feet of all the teachers, the ultimate teacher, and all those who have guided me in my path in life. Thank you very much. As I briefly outline the course of the talk today, I would say for the choice of the subject, I have to thank the Honorable Principal, because she was the one who said that they would like to explore new areas, and I was happy to have gone to the normal ways that we share in the institution. But she was the driver as far as getting the project is concerned. So, Madam, thank you. It's the choice that you gave, and I have taken it. Thank you very much. So today's journey would be, what is Anand? Anand is everywhere, from ocean to sky. Anand, the perception. Anand, various perspectives. Anand, the purpose of your life. The Indian spiritual path and Anand. Western utilitarianism. The purpose of a transitional society where we are all in. My purpose, your purpose and my purpose, riding imagination and creativity. Purpose of life, living creativity and Anand. Creativity is manifestation, innovation, invention. Creativity traits and tools. How do you bring about? What is dynamics of creativity? And how creativity becomes the purpose of your life. The fruits of creativity. Creativity, purpose of life, and life of purpose, as I have led in my 7 decades. Living Anand. And I believe you can do it. That's how I would take the journey today. So with your permission, I will start. And I said that Anand is everywhere as you look at it. It's from ocean to the sky. Human life is about sharing, caring, being, and living Anand, as Madam just explained. A child grows in the ocean of parents' love, soaked in Anand as it evolves. Its learning leads to awareness about what the world is about, what our emotions are about, what our duties. And then he learns to share. As he learns to go into the deeper meaning of life, reaches consciousness. And from that darkness to which you are born, your journey is to light. All that journey and the destination is Anand. It's an experience which we all share. What is Anand? The perception. Its experience share is the purpose of life. So it has both the perception, which is individual, and perspectives, which are there for all the society, all the strata of the society to observe. And perception differs from person to person. And here I am reminded of Sir Edmund Hillary, who traveled to both the poles. He topped Mount Everest. And on being asked as to why did he go to Mount Everest, he said, just because it was there. And all that climbing gave me a lot of delight. Climbing 30,000 feet in minus 40 degrees was a delight for him. That is his Anand. Dadi Balsara, here I must share something which I've learned way back in the 80s. Dadi Balsara was a very well-known name in the 80s. He was the one who founded some pharma companies. The Odomos is his product, incidentally. He came to India in the 80s, around 1982. And then there was only Doordarshan. And we had one Mr. Chopra, who was to conduct a Sunday morning interview. And a group of students and Mr. Chopra interviewed Dadi Balsara, and I had the opportunity to watch that program. And there, from the group of students of Delhi University, someone got up and asked him, Sir, Mr. Dadi Balsara, you are an astrologer, you are an astronomer, you are a face reader, you are a palmist, you are a multi-million-dollar. But you believe in all this? After all life is only about chance. There's nothing like destiny. And what are you talking about uh, projecting your lives of future? So Adi Balsara said, young man, you're not even in your 20s, and how do you say that? That there is no destiny. So that time, the student answered, he said, sir, meeting you today, was it my destiny? It was only a matter of chance, sir. In fact, I was not selected to join the group of students who came to visit you. The bus accidentally came to our hostel. I just walked in, and the boy who was selected was not there. So I joined and boarded the bus, and here I am to meet you, sir. It's all a matter of chance, and that's how you go through. The answer that Adi Balsara gave is irrelevant to today's talk, because Adi Balsara, believe me, he was a fantastic person. In his 60s, he was a black belt karate, judo expert, a multi-millionaire, very happily married in life, a perfumist, and of course, all the astrological strength was with him. And he said, young man, meeting me was your destiny. But meeting me today was a matter of chance. And you took the chance, so you met the destiny. In life, unless you take your chances, you will never meet your destiny. The same thing applies to Anand. You cannot bolt the room, shut yourself, and wait for Anand to fall on you. You have to take chances. You have to move out. Then only your destiny will be opened, and your march, your journey of Anand will happen. It doesn't happen by shutting yourself down in a room. Take case of Captain Vikram Batra, the Param Veer Chakra winner. And in the entire battle, first he was injured in the Kargil sector. But then again, he volunteered for the second mission of 0.4875. And in the hail of bullets, he sacrificed himself. A day prior to that, he was asked, sir, what do you want in life? And he said, Dil mange more. He wanted more fight. He wanted to fight the enemy for the country. That was his definition of honor. So the perception changes from individual to individual, the journey, the destination, everything about Anand. It's true that now the perception is shaped by modern society as it is moving at the speed of thought. We are in the digital age, and that has definitely impacted us. So there are two sides of the coin, the two perspectives which are wide and clear. One side is the Indian spiritual path, how over the last journey of tens and thousands of years, how we have visualized the journey of Anand. And the second is the Western utilitarianism, as it is known, and how that believes that whatever you do, whichever way you follow utilitarianism, you will reach and you will acquire Anand. There are, of course, the 21st century challenges that we have. We have a third of the humanity is suffering from poverty, hunger, and deprivation. You also have social, political, and religious conflicts. You have ecological, climate change, and disaster. They are all impacting our perspective about Anand. It's not, we are not sheltered from the impact of these forces. And the digital world has, at the press of the button, it delivers something. So we have the habit and the culture of instant gratification. It also impacts the concept, the perspectives of Anand. So, as per the English language dictionaries, it's very simply defined as perpetual happiness, pleasure, divine joy, sublime, also bliss, because the highest state of individual self leading to union with God, that is Anand, as it is mentioned. We look at both the perspectives, the Indian philosophy and the Western utilitarianism. And we go into the Indian texts, the Bhagavats, Vedas and the Puranas. Brahma Sutra in the 5th century has this famous quote, Adhado Brahma Jidnyasa. Now we inquire about Brahman, the absolute truth, to find out what is life and Anand about. That Jidnyasa is what drives us, this journey of Anand. In Taittiriya Upanishad, in fact, there is a whole chapter known as Anandavalli, where the joys of journey of a youth from ignorance, studies, skill development, acquiring the knowledge of the divine sects, of the divine texts, and his journey towards the ultimate knowledge. That entire path is called Anand, as described in the 10 stages as you reach Prajapati, the creator of this universe. In Tejubindu Upanishad in the 4th century CE, the word Satchidananda appears, and it means truth, consciousness, and bliss. This is the journey to Anand. You find out the truth in life, you develop your consciousness, and you seek the heavenly bliss. Satchidananda, the route to consciousness. If we look at Dwapar Yuga, as we all know, Dwapar Yuga is before the Kali Yuga. Presently, we are all in Kali Yuga, as you know. After the Mahabharata, 5,200 years ago, the Kali Yuga started. So we are all in Kali Yuga. And in Bhagavad Gita itself, which was then recited as delivered by Lord Krishna, he mentions about Loka Sangraha Mepi Savashan Kartumasi, Janagadaya. Lord Janaka, the father of Sita Mai, attained spirituality, attained moksha, because he followed whatever was to be done, whatever duties were to be delivered towards society, towards family. For Loka Sangra, for keeping the society, the family, everything together. That Loka Sangra is a journey towards delight. And Bhagavad Gita explores further the concept of Loka Sangra. Kalidasa, in writing about in Raghuvamsha, he describes the Raghukul journey, the journey of Lord Rama. So he says the kings of Raghukul, Raghuvamsha, did everything right. Shaishave Dhyasta Vidyaram Yogare Vashishana. In the youth and childhood, they would study texts, would acquire disciplines, acquire knowledge, live life as true family members. Vardhakya Munivrittanam Yogatante Etterutteja. And as the age proceeded, whatever was dictated by the spiritual and religious texts, they followed that, marching to moksha, the ultimate relief, by following the yoga philosophy. That's why we call that as the Ramarajya, as the happiest period, because the kings themselves followed the principles of seeking Anand by following the journey of truth, consciousness, and delight. And we come to later times in the Kali Yuga itself, and we have a very simple statement by Swami Vivekananda: one chooses the most appropriate path, that is the path to Anand. The choice entirely is left to the individual. Sri Aurobindo says that Ananda is the natural state of humanity. It's a battle of pain versus pleasure. Whatever gives pain, one keeps away from it. Whatever gives pleasure, he follows. And that journey is said to be the journey towards Anand, seeking Anand. We have Gita RRIS written by Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Lokmanya Tilak, and he writes that the whole purpose of life is karma yoga, to perform the tasks which are given to you, to act and not to withdraw and shut oneself in the Himalayas. Because that time, the 1,000 years of the dark millennium had cast this shadow of escapism. People were trying to escape from the duties and take recourse to religious exits in life. He was against it. So he follows and propagated Karma Yoga. Lord Radhakrishnan also took up the same path in the text in the current times. So what are the current pathways? Last millennium has then thrown up 4 distinct pathways. The Bhakti Yoga, path of devotion to the Supreme, and we all know the Varkaris who dance their way to Pandharpur Vithoba twice a year, singing and praying and enjoying the repetition of Naam, of Vithala, Vithala, Vithala. That takes them and gives them maximum anand. We have Jnana Yoga, people who follow the religious texts rigorously, follow the dictates, and through that seek knowledge of the ultimate. The third is Karma Yoga, as explained by both by Lord Radhakrishnan, by Sir Radhakrishnan sir, and Lokmanya in the books, performing one's duties. And Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga basically derives from Patanjali's Yoga Shastra, where the Ashtanga Yoga and various types of yogas are described. Using the physical and mental strength to obtain control over mind and body, and through yoga, seek all the pleasures that you wish of reaching to the power. In reality, we find today that the current Indian professional also is balancing himself or herself between these four, starting with a prayer in the morning, follows bhakti, or goes to the office, does his job, her job, and come back. That is the Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga for him. And then Raja Yoga, in this spare time that has, adopts a certain pose, a certain position as described in yogas, and spends the time. So we try to jog, balance between these, the four paths listed above. And what is the Western utilitarianism? Epicurus 307 BC had said that the purpose of people and the societies is to promote pleasure and avoid suffering. He began with the simple text, and it got reflected in various sports that they attained, games. Large numbers of games were attended. But some games were very punitive, where the tigers were let loose on the slaves. Barring that, the Olympics came out of this philosophy. And Bentham and Mill, two very well-known proponents of the utilitarianism in the 18th and 19th century, and they developed a theory of morality for fostering happiness. The some substance of that theory of the largest good of the largest number is what the society should follow. If 10,000 people are benefiting by putting 100 people or 10 people to some punishment, some suffering, it's worth it. It should be done. This led to ethical dilemma. This led to extreme shadow of capitalism, monopolistic competition, and that has resulted in the turmoil in the West. We in India are gradually affected by the Western utilitarianism, by the instant pleasures that we want, instant gratification. They are all impacting us, impacting our professionals. As we have 100 million plus digital users, it is affecting us. That they are obviously a threat to our society and culture. So we are a society which is in transition. So there is a question of a transitional society. We were an agro-industrial society. In 1947, we were liberated. We had a 35 crore population, 45 million tons of food grain production. Today, we are 130 crore, almost 300 million tons of food grain production, 330 million tons of horticulture production, 200 million tons of food. We have moved from an agrarian society. We are what we call a digital superpower. That's where we stand. So in this process, we have also faced deprivation. We have also felt lifestyle and ethical changes at work ethics. People do not go to a job and work for 50 years of their life. For all that, they change jobs. So work ethic has changed. So we are facing various constraints, and they can be summed up as limitations of space, time, and connectivity. From the time that we get up to the time that we go to the office and come back, everywhere there is a challenge of time, the challenge of space. The digital time, there is a challenge of connectivity, and you feel suffocated if you're not able to talk to someone on the mobile. The physical and mental capacities and digital literacy, they are also challenged, because we have people, all of them are not equally physically fit. Some can take the punishment, some cannot. Some are highly susceptible, as we saw recently. There is also the question of digital literacy. Those who do not have digital literacy are handicapped. The question of demographics is very much before us, from 35 crores to 130 crores. Too much of competition, there are just too many people. And I read somewhere that in Kerala, there was an advertisement for the job of a sweeper a couple of years ago. In Trivandrum Municipal Corporation, 10,000 people applied. More than half of them were graduates, and some were postgraduates. That's demographics for you. Costs have gone up, so financial strain is there. Human resources, there are a lot of people in numbers, but if you want a specific skill to be delivered, they are not there. You want a good carpenter, take a long time to get one. So there are human resources, the quality human resource is not there. There are adversities. We have the problems of climate change. We have the problems of natural calamities and health scares like the COVID that we face. We are passing through these very challenging and turbulent times in this transitional society. Last but not the least, the digital age and ethics of the digital layer are impacting our life and purpose, and we cannot avoid that. But everything is not negative. The transitional society has a lot of positives as well. And what are those? As a digital powerhouse, we said that by 2050, India will have 500 million youth available for work and work opportunities below the age group of 30. That time, average age of Japan will be over 70, and average age of Europe will be about 67. These are realities. Only US will have fairly young society. That means nowhere in the world we will have fit, physically and mentally fit people available to do the job. We are probably the only ones who are able to skill the youth. We have the world at our feet. A huge home market is developing in India. 350 million middle class, 350 million of agro products, agriculture and horticulture products. They need to be processed. We are not doing any processing. All that is available. After 200 million tons of milk, more than half of it is only liquid. The other half is available for products. The opportunities are infinite in agriculture, horticulture, agro industries. The vast academic area. At present, we have over 60 million people in academics, and we saw the NEP. As it expands, we will have more and more in field of academics itself. We have a rapidly developing startup culture. Every 4 days, a multi-million dollar startup is born. It's fantastic. And we will soon have 100,000 startups. A wonderful startup culture. There is a quality institutional support system. The other day, a friend of mine came and said that for digital startups, I have got 500 crores from the bank. That's some amount available. And there is tremendous demand for green, organic, and eco-friendly networks and products. You know, the sale of organic turmeric itself has gone through the skies. Just one product. There are many more to follow. So then what is my journey? When I say my, I'm talking in the editorial my, all of us together. What is my journey? What are my choices from academics to profession? What do I do? From all the journey of perception to perspectives, where does my purpose fall with all these challenges? For me to arrive at that, I got number of drivers and force multipliers. To take my journey beyond the academics and beyond my professional workout as it is ordained to me, I have the passion and indomitable spirit to drive me past all the obstacles that I have seen. I am the challenges that appear, converting them into opportunities. That's my option, and I can always do that. My family and local networks, which are multiplied because of digital power, they are a source of support. And we know crowdsourcing as a pet idea, even for helping serious patients. My inclusivity, my curiosity to know what's happening to the world, why is it happening? Can I reach out? That curiosity can be another driver to take me out of this. And not understood, but in many cases, intuition. There is something that you feel innately that can contribute to find a way out. And of course, all this leading to creativity. Because when you drive through all this, use your intention, use your intuition and passion and undoubtable spirit, you come to this gold mine of creativity. And Albert Einstein has rightly said, the imagination is more important than knowledge. In the current times, using your imagination to go past the hurdles that you and I have facing. Choosing creativity for that is one option that all of us have.
So may I add a thought here and maybe also ask a question? I would like to refer to the previous slide again. With your permission, may I say something, sir?
But,
can we see the yes, this slide, sir? So when we talk of the purpose of life,
yeah.
I have a question here. Does it always have to be through conscious choice, or sometimes by chance we get into something? I would say it has happened with me while my studies during my entire academic career. I never actually seriously thought that I would ever become a teacher. But as life had to unfold itself, and as it happened, I got into education. I never regretted it. In fact, now I've come to a stage where I feel though it was by chance, but I am probably meant for what I'm doing today. So it was not a very conscious choice. If I was given a chance, I would have moved into medicine, but somehow I feel I got into this field because it is where my calling was, but I didn't realize at that time. Later, as I experienced this life, I realized that this is what gives me the ultimate joy, the bliss that we talk of, the connection that I can build with children. If I'm able to bring a little spark of inspiration in them, connect to them, bring the joy of learning, and also, being in this fraternity of educators, knowing the teachers, seeing how education can transform, I think that is the ultimate joy. So my question is, like you said, maybe sir, that is destiny. So maybe on behalf of many people, I would just like to ask, is there always a conscious choice one has to make in identifying our passion, our purpose, or it can just happen by chance as well?
Thank you, ma'am, for asking this question. But that's why I mentioned about what Dadi Balsara said. Then what was Dadi Balsara saying when he defined chance and destiny? Everyone has a destiny. Everyone's destiny is to choose and arrive at Anand. Right? The choice that you made, since it gave you Anand, delight, though it came by chance, it still justifies. Because your choice was not of profession, but of seeking Anand. That whatever you do should give you satisfaction, should give you a kind of feeling which you would, because in a teacher's case, you have to share your learnings. You have to share positivity with him, with the students. So long as you are willing to do that, and so long as you are internally prepared to do it, education and teaching sector came. So profession doesn't conflict. In fact, whatever choices you make, since they are, whether they are coming as a matter of chance or otherwise, since you are enjoying the journey,
Yes,
they are certainly welcome. There is that your unconscious movement leads to your consciousness. The consciousness doesn't say that you don't do this, because your consciousness says enjoy, do things which will give pleasure to you, to your society,
right.
to your family. So
Absolutely.
therefore, the consciousness which I mentioned was about the consciousness of the superior, that is the God.
Right.
That is
Right.
consciousness. So long as it is giving you, as I said, the journey of the great Sir Edmund Hillary. Climbing mountains 30,000 feet cannot be a matter of pleasure.
Yes.
Very painful. I mean, minus 40 degrees, and the wind speed at Mount Everest, one can imagine.
Right. Not for a person like me.
It's there. And of course, even his selection in the team for Mount Everest was very much a matter of choice, was a very much a matter of chance. The earlier delegation very event, he was selected only by chance because he had completed the mountains in New Zealand. They said, hey, let's try this guy. So whether it is by chance or by, you will meet your destiny so long as you are following your passion, so
Right.
long as that gives you pleasure. So
may I just conclude this understanding as simply sometimes we need to surrender to nature, let it take its course. You follow it with passion, do your best, and you will definitely find that joy in what you're doing. And that's the purpose.
So long as you have positivity, it will happen.
Yes.
And that's what I said, because positivity is important. It should not,
Right.
what is happening in Ukraine is not positivity. So that's what I mean by positivity. Positivity is
I
very
get it.
critical. And that is what will lead us. So long as we have following these simple words, as everybody understands, they would lead.
Thank you, sir.
They would lead to.
Excellent explanation.
Thank you.
Cleared my doubt completely.
So the living creativity, the ability to convert things into secret, ideas into things, is the secret of success. Because how does one get across all these difficulties that you face? One is, of course, as you said, sometimes there is a matter of chance. You knock, and the door opens. It has happened with me 100 times. And now I must recount that you have told your story. I must recount my story. That I had, after becoming the managing director in a public sector enterprise, being 15 years there, I was working as a consultant. In fact, I had a factory producing gherkins in Hyderabad. From there, I came on a smart break to Mumbai from Hyderabad, where my family has been in Mumbai. And both my children said, Dad, we have done our graduation. You are an MBA. What about us? So I said, look around for a college somewhere. And I found just behind my house this new institution had come up, MET. So I took them over. They appeared for the exam and they were selected. A fortnight later, when I walked in, they said, sir, here there are 3 letters. The director said, I said, what is it? The 2 are for your children who have got through, and the 3rd one is for you. I said, for what? Sir, we are appointing you as a director. I said, what do you mean you are appointing me? I'm not here. I'm in Hyderabad. They said, no. We think you would be a very good teacher. I said, I'm not a teacher. I have given up MBA in 1968. Please. He said, no, sir. You continue in Hyderabad and keep guiding the institution. So my choice to education in 22 years is also by chance. Let me tell you that. And it was to the extent that I had to shut down both the plants in Hyderabad, came back here and lived with MET for 21 years. So perfect. No regrets. Because whatever I have learned in my 40 years of working, I could share with the 15,000 students who passed out. So that's what this ability to convert ideas into things and bring something into existence is a part of living creativity, and that will allow you to go past all the hurdles that you, because how does one get past? And I'm sharing some examples of mine as we go further, where I will sharing my personal examples, how a little bit of creativity helped me get around this. So you have to generate surprising originality, successfulness, usefulness, cleverness. A very small example I just want to quote is that about uniqueness and usefulness. There was a famous, there was a dentist in USA who was practicing child dental care. And he would find that most of the children who were brought by their parents were not putting enough time to brush the teeth. They were brushing morning, evening, no question. But for the upper and for the lower case, you got to spend a minute or so with the paste. Unless you do that, the cleaning is not sufficient. So he was used to tell parents, but still nothing would happen. So one day he thought of a brilliant idea. He said, why don't I make a toothbrush which will have a timer? And believe me, today's toothbrushes have timer. That is his man's invention. Then he became a billionaire and stopped practicing dentist, obviously. But what a simple idea. Because the time that red light would go on, you're facing the mirror and brushing. As the red light goes on, which means I've done 60 seconds of brushing. Now I can.
So I could also say that this innovation actually emerges from a solution-oriented approach. Many times we only focus so much on the problem, we forget that all that energy is to be put in devising a solution for it.
Exactly.
And that's where we block our own creativity.
Usefulness, and a bit of cleverness. And you go to Amazon and there are 50 types of brushes available with timer. That was this one man's idea of putting a timer in a toothbrush. The rest is history. Very simple, doesn't require any engineering knowledge. So creativity is a manifestation of innovation and invention. It is a step beyond the idea. How do I keep my patients brushing the teeth for 60 seconds? And the idea came out. The practical and concrete implementation idea, you bring results in recognition of the innovator and manifest through individual process. You got to take the step. You got to bounce your idea to get the answer. That is the journey from creativity to innovation. I have explained that basically to light the path of creativity, you must have faith. You must have faith in oneself that yes, you are on the right track. And you must have think of things which are good for health, happiness, and success, because they are all developing positive ideas in your mind, finding a solution. Normally it is blocked by fear, judgment, and self-doubt. Get over that. There is no need for it. Because you're not producing a nuclear technology to explore the whole world. That's not the case. So don't let your own fear or lack of or a fear of judgment start them. Attend and observe and listen to your inner voice. I mentioned intuition because intuitively, mother feels something about the child. She cannot describe it, but that's her intuition. And in so many cases, we have found that the intuitions of their respective mothers were absolutely right. 50 years down the line, you will remember that's what our mother had said. Because the intuition is a great source of power, and that will lead your creativity to success. And you have to at times propose things which look idiotic. Here I just want to, there I'm explaining it at some other stage, but idiotic concept, I will just make one small example here, is that when I joined the Konkan development in the 75 and appointed as the chief executive, one of the ideas that was mentioned in the Tata Economic Survey report, which was the Bible I went around, was to increase the productions in the area. Now, Konkan region, Goa to Gujarat coast, 760 kilometers, a lot of rainfall. 80% of the land is sloping. Agricultural land was only 5%. How to increase the production? Only nothing other than grass. So I told my boss, I said, sir, unless we do something with the grass, we are not going to produce anything out of this. How does land produce something? And we thought dairy industry was a good idea. So we went over and met and called on Mr. Kurian, who was the guru riding on milk, as they said. So with great difficulty, we called on him. We explained to him that we are from government of Maharashtra. The first time he threw us out. He said, government of Maharashtra doesn't help dairy industry. So don't waste my time. We went again, cajoling him. And the second time when I went, he just tossed a small booklet at me and said, take this. I said, sir, what is this? It said, Bull Mother Farm at Bidar. I said, sir, what is a Bull Mother Farm? I'm not a veterinarian. He said, do you think I'm a veterinarian? Dr. Kurian said, I'm not a vet. I am a nuclear technologist and a metallurgist. But I have set up a bull. So don't tell me that as an MBA, you can't study a subject and come out with it. Do that. Now that totally sounded idiotic to me. I said, what is this person telling me? I mean, is it ever going to happen? Am I ever going to read and understand and set up a project where nothing understand? I'm not a veterinarian. But you won't believe, things conspired in my favor. A month down the line, heavens opened up, and then a dairy project was set up. Its journey, I will explain at some other stage. But the success to that journey was preparation of a document, a 200-page document, Konkan Dairy Development Project, prepared by a total ignoramus like me, with help from Agriculture Finance Corporation and dairy experts. And we put it to a funding agency, and the rest happened. So ridiculous is not the way to block your creativity. An answer will come, and you must work towards it. So what is the dynamics of creativity? That you have a problem, whatever the problem is, appearing for an exam, getting away, getting into a job, seeking a solution for a problem that you face, that leads to a solution which may raise to a problem and back to solution. So this is a continuous, this is the dynamics of creativity. And so long as you enjoy that, you will get ANAND out of it. And Albert Einstein says rightly that when a problem is faced, devote 95% time to understand the problem, and 5% will be there to solve it. So creativity as a purpose of life, and there is a model proposed by this Bonsford and Steen, which says the ideal model is identify what the problem you have and what are the opportunities that you have. Put them against it. Then define the goal. How do you reach? What is it that you seek to achieve through this? Then explore possible strategies, anticipate outcomes, act, look back and learn. Develop a pilot. So starting from ridiculous to developing a pilot is the toughest part. Once you have developed a pilot, then you have something to bounce back the ideas with colleagues and the answer will come out. That's the journey of creativity. Now, historically, there are millions of examples. I just quoted some extremely silly examples here of creativity. Raisins in 1870. So there was a big drought in California and tons of grapes burned out, dried, were lying all in the trees underneath. Then somebody collected, cleaned them and found that they can be sold. They have good price for it. That is how raisins were born in Europe. So raisins came out of a drought. Folding bed. There are the stagecoaches were there in the 19th century. And this Murphy had to sleep, had to take the people in the coach, then go somewhere and sleep. So he would use the same bed. And that is how folding bed came up. In 1913, people were working on finding out varieties of iron which will not get rusted. So many samples were thrown in a room. And they found one sample did not rust. And that had 14% chromium. So stainless steel was born. Dry cleaning through mistake, somebody spilled distilled turpentine and that portion got cleared. Dairy industry, dry liquor industry was born. Vulcanization, somebody through mistake added sulfur and white lead. That's a vulcanization process. Sandwich, the famous case, this John Montague was a very avid card player, and he would have no time gambling his way all through. So he would quickly go take 2 pieces of bread, put some vegetable, and eat it. That's how sandwich was born. And he was given the title of our Lord Sandwich, and we all munch our sandwiches, courtesy of that man. The steam engine piston is another joke. Original steam engines which came in Britain had the piston going only one way, and somebody had to pull it and push it back for the next push to happen. And there was this road roller on a street, rolling the street. The foreman had to go for a drink across the street, and he called his assistant, who was a small helper. He said, every time the piston goes back, you just pull it back and do it there. And he saw a group of kids playing tops. So he joined them, but pulled a powerful string and tied it so that the reversing started happening automatically. The foreman came back. Before spanking the child, he realized that the piston was going back as a result of the string that he has put in. That's how the steam engine piston was born. The 3 great examples of Sir Isaac Newton and the fruit falling and he discovering the idea of gravity. Alexander Fleming, a doctor in the field of battle, found that certain wounds got healed because of certain processes, very simple process that he did, and that's how penicillin was born. And C.V. Raman, while observing the rainbow spectrum, the spectrum of the sunlight, worked on the spectrum and the carbon, and the Raman effect is there. In fact, he improved the very concept of the question of why the ocean is blue by refining the original concept. So many of these examples of creativity leading to positive results and benefit to the humanity and to the individual person. Now, having explained all this journey, somebody would say, well, have you ever experienced it? Or are you only giving us a lecture? So I would list down some of my own experiences, which I have over the last 8 decades, through which I have used a part of creativity, whatever I could understand at the speak of the moment. And the funniest part is, at Bajaj, we were told that in an interview, in a job interview, the atmosphere is too tense. Have the guts to pass a joke and see that the atmosphere comes down. And the opportunity came when I was interviewed for my post as a senior management trainee in Delhi Cloth Mills, way back in 1968. The panel was too auspicious. We had Lala Bharat Ram, Lala Charat Ram, the Finance Secretary, Government of India, Mr. Ratnam, a very high-powered board, and they were asking me various questions. And they asked me this question because budget discussion was going on. They asked me, Mr. Paget, do you know what is this budget that is going on? Have you heard of this? No, I had just landed in Delhi by a morning train. I had no time to look at the newspaper. So the question of discussion about budget happening in the parliament was miles away. But then I thought for a moment and I said, sir, I'm sorry, I have not read the latest item, but I know that they have reduced the tax on chocolates, and chocolates have become very cheap. I'm very fond of chocolate. The whole board burst out in laughing. That brought the atmosphere down, and then I drove them to what I thought was gold standard, and the rest is history. I got into the job. So does a small idea which you have picked up somewhere diffuse the situation, bring a bit of laughter, and you can achieve as I got through. Then I became general manager of a plant in Punjab and the Punjab border.
May I also add here, what I feel comes out from that story is also not to take everything so seriously that you forget being mindful, forget about lighter things in life. Because sometimes we just wear that mask of seriousness so much that we simply forget.
Yeah, I could think of this because my father had told me a story. My father was an educationalist himself. And he has told me a story of our first Earl of Birkenhead, F.E. Birkenhead, a well-known British parliamentarian. And one evening he is addressing the constituency. He is going around for votes. And in a dark alley, a woman way up in the balcony says and asks, and sir, what your government has done for me? The first Earl of Birkenhead, a brilliant orator in the parliament, looks up and says, Madam, I do not know your age, and I would be too scared to announce it. But if you are a young woman seeking a job, this is what the government has done. If you are an elderly lady seeking for pension, this is what we have done. Like that. And in the end, he says, but if you are none of these and foolish enough to buy a chocolate, we have reduced the tax on chocolate. I remembered that joke when I was there in the DCM and used the borrowed
So
wit.
that's the first step of creativity. There are steps for creating. The very first is observe. So listening to stories, remembering, that's again observation.
Yeah, because I was myself brutally scared because ex-finance secretary Ratnam was there, the ICS Superman. So I was, what they would ask about budget. That time we were blessed by a wonderful teacher, Narottam Shah, who was the Economic Times editor, a brilliant man. So then I took the next story of Gold Standard and won my bout because they had not heard the great economist Narottam Shah, and I was their student. So that's how put them on the map. So you have to use all these to get across, and that was what I did in DCM. So similarly, this plant of Delhi cloth mills, I was posted in Punjab, near the Punjab border, at a place called Malot, 40 kilometers from the border. And there at Malot, we had a fully automatic ginning and pressing plant. Every 50 seconds, a 200 kilo bale would press out. So you put cotton at one end and bale at the other end, a fully automatic plant. I was there after a couple of months. One night, the foreman came running and said, "Sir, plant band hua hai." Kya ho gaya? So we rushed to the plant, and there was an automatic bale pressing device. It is, if you see a bale press, the cotton is put in a box, and then from the top, a plunger comes, presses the cotton, and you put the steel spikes, and that is how the bale is made. So this plunger had got broken, and the plant was of US. He said, "So 3 mahina lag jayega America se plant lane ke liye." So I said, at least open and find out what was it about. And they were all laughing because they knew that I was not an engineer, just a general manager. Oh, SMT karke management training aaya, banda isko kya samajhta hai. So when we opened, we found that there is what is known as bronze bushings, 4 meters in length. They said, "Ye bushing kat gaya hai, aur Hindustan mein bronze bushing to hota nahi hai." So I asked him, Sadaji, he was a Sadaji, "Sadaji, kya sab bushing bronze ke hote hain?" Bole, "Na ji, aisi to baat." I said, "Then use some other bushing." He said, "नहीं, bronze चाहिए साहब, because it is a self-lubricating material." So I said, "भाई आप उसमें oil डालो." 30 seconds, he said, "Sir, ये हो सकता है." So he rushed. We sent him to Batala, which is nearby, got 2 4-meter gunmetal bushings of the same size made in 48 hours, put 2 cans of oil with a hole at the bottom, and that oil dripping gave the lubrication, and we started the plant. So jugaad, as we do in India, has no end to it. But you can't accept. As a general manager, I could not accept in my 3rd month that the plant will shut down. So I got to fight for it. Whether I'm an engineer or doesn't matter. I can read the manual, I can read the spare parts and get the answers. And that's what we did. That was in 69. Then after that, I came back to Marathwada region because my dad was not well. So I came nearer home. And in that region of Marathwada in 70-71, there was a big drought, almost 3 years, not even 10 inches of rainfall fell. So thousands of farmers were without work and farming was wiped out. So I was working for a seed company called Mahiko, which is a well-known seed company now. And they had this rural extension department known as Marathwada Shetty Assignment, which I headed. So I asked them, "Sir, what do I do? I don't know anything about agriculture." He said, "Mr. Bhage, we know agriculture. You know management, so we'll do something about it." That's how they silenced me. And farmers, we used to do what is known as mechanized farming demonstration. We had equipment gifted by CARE, and we would go around and we would plow an acre of land free of charge and say, "This is how we'll benefit you." And then more people will come, so we'll charge them. So it was a demonstration of mechanized farming using deep plowing to help their productivity. One day I received a message that the head of the CARE India, CARE was a US agency, Cooperative for American Relief Everywhere, who had donated the equipment. So their head, called Mr. Jean-Jacques Van Damme, was to visit because he found that 3 months that I had taken a lot of work has happened. He said, "What is happening? This program was dead for a year. How it is working?" So he came to visit us. And we took him around, showed how we are working, and we ultimately put him back in a hotel in Aurangabad. And that night, his chartered accountant who was there to audit with us, he said, Mr. Bhagya, I'm told you are an MBA. I said, yes. Then what are you doing here? You're working with these farmers. And how long will you take to plow all the land? It will take you 100 years. I said, no, our purpose is to help them in what is called supervised credit. So he said, fair enough, supervised credit. Do you have a scheme for it? I said, no, we are working out. He said, tomorrow morning, my flight is at 7 o'clock. So prepare if you want.
Excuse me, Mr. Shrikant. Mr. Shrikant Adia, please keep yourself on mute. Mr. Shrikant, please mute yourself. Thank you.
So he said, well, that's very good. But you have time till tomorrow, 7 o'clock in the morning. Give me a scheme, because my neighbor is one Mr. S.P. Nair, God bless his soul. He's the director of Agriculture Finance Corp. And they're looking for a scheme to help poor farmers. So it was already 10 p.m. So I said, I can't type it. He said, it doesn't matter. Give an handwritten paper. So I wrote down a program of supervised credit for farmers. How seed industry technology can help them earn the entire cost of land development in 1 year's time. You dig a well, you put a pump set, you get crop loan, you spend 20,000 rupees and you get half an acre of cotton seed. That time cotton seed was in demand and you get 50,000 rupees. So you can pay off in 1 year itself. And as a seed company, we could do that. We had a department of hydrology who could do the hydroboard, who could do the location of wells. So we had everything with us in Jalna. So I submitted the scheme to him. The next day he went away. I took a carbon copy, showed to our trustees, and they said, ha ha ha. He said, Bhagya sahab, ऐसे 4 कागज से पैसा, कितना पैसा चाहिए? हमने कहा 50 लाख. 50 lakhs in 1970 was a fairly big amount of money. He said, Bhagya sahab, ये तो होने वाला नहीं. खैर रख लीजिए. They encouraged me and kept the paper. 3 days later, I received a telegram from Mr. S.P. Nair. He said, reaching Jalna railway station tomorrow morning, meet me at the railway station. The director came, we prepared the project in 15 days' time. Bank of Baroda, Central Bank of India, Union Bank of India, and Bank of Maharashtra sanctioned 5 million rupees for 450 farmers. I was made the executive secretary for implementation of the program. In 71, 72, 73, in 3 years, we dug 450 wells, completed them, and started repayment. 100% funding. The only component that the farmer had to put in was his own labor. Because, in every project, there has to be own components. I said, the farmer has no money. He's already under drought. So you must give 100% funding. The farmer will work. That is his participation.
So I think this is sheer perseverance, undying spirit to make things happen. And that is when coupled with creativity and this passion to do something.
Yes. I was.
And to help, I think we also get the path ahead of us very clear in our vision. So you had asked me to remind you about the time. So it is 4:31 for your information.
So 5 minutes, I'll wind up these 4.
Yes, sir. So this is just to inform you that you asked me to
I mentioned about Mr. Kurian, Dr. Kurian, who gave us the idea. So that time when Mr. Len Reid came from Australia, he was the Speaker of Western Australian Parliament, and he met the Honorable Prime Minister Indiraji and gave a press statement which said that Australia, they are shooting cows because there was a drought. And if the cows are not shot and not put in a ditch, the meat industry will go down. So he prayed the Australian farmers to donate the cows to India, where the cows would be in demand. Why don't you do it? They said. So he met Prime Indiraji said, very good, whatever help you want, we'll do it. And then I read that, and he had called for a meeting in Hotel Imperial on a Sunday in October 75. So I dashed there with my boss. We attended the meeting, and he said, this is the idea. So we said, sir, how do cows come? He said, I will arrange for air freight. My God, air freight. I'll arrange for a gift. You prepare a project. So he asked the 150 people to submit a document in 1 month's time. I had already this brilliant dose from Mr. Kurian of a bull mother farm. I put the idea together, prepared a Konkan dairy development project. I have the document here. Someone wants to see it, and submitted it exactly in a month in the Hotel Imperial again. And that time, first time we were 150. This time only 30 people came. All of them came with soiled papers from the smelling of cow dung and urine. Mine was the only proper document. So he put up the document and said, this is what I want. So, Mr. Pagi, we have sanctioned your project. Anyway, I was very happy. He came. My boss said that, when are the cows arriving? He said, you must have gone mad. The old man is, I can understand, at your age, do you believe that cows will come from Australia? 500 cows? Can that happen? I said, sir, that's what he said. He said, yeah, but you MBAs, you always talk of very big things. Tu to abhi veterinarian bhi nahi hai. I said, sir, I have a document to prove that I am a veterinarian. So anyway, in 15 days' time, from Australia, he sent an affidavit signed by Len Reid in presence of the Indian ambassador to Canberra, because he was a politician, saying that he is gifting 500 heads of cattle, CIF Mumbai Airport. And we worked for 6 months. I was earlier in a rural project, so I had some donor contacts. And on 30th of November, 1976, 500 cows by DC-10 charter, first lot came in that year, second lot came 6 months later. So they arrived, 250 of them in our colony, put up, and the project was put up there. Similarly, I repeated the same thing because we needed liquid nitrogen plant to set up a frozen semen bank with the cows. Again, this time I got $5 million from Sibemo, a Dutch agency. Again, a chance meeting with Mr. Fernandes, who happened to be a Bandra resident, and we accidentally met up and we had $5 million. In both the cases, we had to fight with the government of India to get duty exemption. The first time, the fight was with Mr. Pranab Kumar Mukherjee. And the second time, the fight was Mr. Yashwantrao Chauhan, who was then the Deputy Prime Minister, and his government dissolved, and that's how I got the funding. So in both the cases, I got these sanctions, duty exemption of 65% waived, and C&F Mumbai Airport. So similarly, repairing a gas bottle plantation. In all these, the joke about UN EcoSoc project is, we arranged a conference here for NGOs for UN EcoSoc and presented a project truth that was accepted by them, and I was invited along with our trustees to come to New York to make a presentation. We made a presentation and got an NGO membership of UN EcoSoc. Incidentally, that very year, the NGO membership of JNU, which was headed then by our Honorable Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, who was a professor there, that application got rejected, and Mumbai Education Trust application got finalized. That's luck. That's what I did. Similarly, lastly, as part of the students, we set up a task force every day. The first day when the students come to the institute, we ask them that they are here not for education alone, but to set up a project and set up a task force here with them. So, sum and substance is positive creativity energizes billions of human cells that can lead to success. Persistence, never say die attitude, courage and guidance of gurus. That's very crucial. At every stage, I made a list, at least 50 major guru inputs I have with me, from whether it is hydrogeology, whether it is horticulture, whether it is rubber plantation, any technology. In a dairy industry, I had 3 gurus. They all have helped me to do that and prove that imagination is sometimes more vivid than reality. The digital outreach can multiply it manyfold. So embrace creativity. In the last but not the least, I'm here to thank the Honorable Trustees and the Principal Madam of Ramratan International Vidyapith, the distinguished academician teachers who listen to me with patience. If there is time, you can ask me questions or you can mail the questions to me. I will only quote what a famous ghazal of Naushad Sahab, which I cannot resist. And every student of mine knows that, because he says, Abhi saaz dil mein tarane bahut hai. Abhi saaz dil mein tarane bahut hai. Abhi zindagi ke bahane bahut hai. Dare gair par bheek mango na funky. दरे गैर पर भीख मांगो न फन की, जब अपने ही घर में खजाने बहुत है. When we are loaded with diamonds in your own body, in your own heart, in your society, don't beg for a poem. Don't beg for man. It is there with you. It's their intuition. It's there as an imagination. It's there as a passion. Use that and you will make a success. So thank you very much. I'm grateful to you, all of you. Grateful to my commander, Wing Commander Deshpande, who permitted me and put you in touch with you. And madam, all yours. Whatever mistakes I have made, I beg to be forgiven. All the credit to my teachers. Thank you very much.
You have rendered us speechless. I mean, such excellent examples which you took from your own life stories makes it so relevant. Your entire presentation ended with the actual examples from your own life. So those who feel that it's just theory, I think it's time for us all to take a check, take a stock of our lives, and remember, it is every trait that sir mentioned in the last, second last, third last slides. It's all about your strong desire, dedication, perseverance, never say die attitude, and going for it with creativity, with positivity. So I think this was so inspiring that everyone who wishes to bring in creativity and innovation and invention, irrespective of the profession, they can find a way. First thing is, for me, what comes out is the purpose of life is finding a life of purpose, is creating a life of purpose, and it's in your hand. Whether you get it by chance or you consciously create it. What matters is go for it fully, without fear, give your best. And don't forget to get all possible learnings on this way. Learn from the gurus, just like we have got a guru like Dr. Vijay Pageji here today.
I have learned only from my gurus, nothing else. No credit to me, my parents and all my teachers who have brought me through this. Absolutely.
So, sir, you are one of those gurus whom we are connecting to every Monday to take our life a little higher in terms of our consciousness and our conscious efforts towards building a life of purpose. Thank you so much, sir. Here's a short video to express our gratitude to you.
I have given my mobile number and mail ID at the end of it. So anyone who is interested in sending a mail or something,
Sure.
I would try.
I'll also type your phone number here, sir, in the chat box.
Please.
Meanwhile, if any friends have any questions, please feel free to ask. Any questions or comments, you're most welcome to speak up. So you have put everyone in a thoughtful mode.
No.
Thank you for this insightful talk. It was truly thought-provoking. Thank you, Nishita, for this video.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We look forward to your continued guidance. I'm sure you are going to receive a lot of questions and thoughts from our participants on the number given. We'll also share your email ID with them, and we seek your blessings.
You can retain the PPT
presentation.
All for you.
Yes, sir. I'll share it with all the participants. Once again, thanks to all our participants. Thanks to Wing Commander Deshpande sir for bringing these connections in our lives.
Thank you.
And all the participants, we look forward to meeting you next Monday, which is also the National Science Day, 28th of February. And our next Aadharshila on 28th February is a scientist himself. So see you then. 3:30 p.m. 28th of February. Till then, take care. Thank you, Dr. Vijay Page, sir. Thanks to everyone. See you next Monday. So, humble gratitude from Dr. Jaya Parekh, the principal of Ram Ratna International School.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Bye. Namaste, Mr. Kapoor.